Darwin. So one of the things that I noticed is some men like to fight with women, combat, and they be in relationships that require them to fight. And when they come into the new relationship, they believe that that's an acceptable mode of communication. So what you're talking about is having to untrain bad behavior to get to a good behavior. And
Hey,
that's 100% what has to be done when you're dealing with someone that's been operating like that. Because nine times out of 10,
that's probably why men marry younger women anyway. Go ahead though.
yeah, no, I was gonna say 9 times out of 10, relationships that had good communication don't tend to end. They
Yeah,
they really don't.
they don't.
They really don't. So you're gonna have to untrain bad behavior, knowing that like so if dating at this age, it's a good unless they've been through immense therapy, it's a good chance that you're gonna have to untrain that person to get to the next level. And knowing that can help you over communicate. It's better to over communicate than to under communicate. To over explain your expectation than to under explain your expectation. I think if
Agreed.
you do that and remain consistent, once the trust is so communication, trust, and then all the rest of that stuff falls in line.
I do have a
Communication and trust.
I do have one more question. Who exactly are we talking to?
Talking about black women.
I mean, no, like as far as like, because obviously we talking to men about like what group of men, what age group, what group of men are we talking to?
18 to 35, 18 to 40. That's what I'm speaking
That's
to.
pretty broad.
Dateable ages.
I would say
Because
all.
That is pretty
I would
broad.
say this. I say
I,
this would apply. This could apply to all men.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh man, this should be a standard.
the reason I guess the reason why I asked is because do we even know if that 20, 25, 18 to 25, maybe 30 even want this? Do they even care?
Yeah, I think they care.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
they
it's in our
definitely.
nature to care
Yeah,
as human
Know
beings.
what we're saying, but we do know that we're adaptable people. So,
the,
do we
the
even know if they
people,
okay with
the
the
people,
So
subculture thing?
Sweeney, I
the
talked to a young lady that was 25 the other day. She was hanging out with the young man I used to mentor, right? So we was on the porch talking, and she was adamant on letting me know that she was raised around all men and that she's like a man at this point. She don't care about men. She like to swap them out and do all of this stuff, right? So as I'm asking her questions, uh, it was a facade. All of that was a facade, and it broke down slowly but for surely till she got to the point where she was like, yeah, I do want this type of relationship, but I don't think I can find a man like that. But if the right man came along, then I would fall in line with that.
Well, no,
So
I get the women. I'm asking about because we're talking to the men. So I'm asking like, do does that age group give a shit right now?
yeah, it's human nature to want to be a part of somebody, something, whatever the case may be. The early on in the scriptures, it tells us that God created Eve because man shouldn't be alone. That is
Amen.
something that is instinctively in us to not want to be alone. So I think that men and women want to be a part of somebody, but it's part of the trend. It's trendy right now for man and woman to say, "Oh, I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. I can do all bad by myself. What's the point of getting married and all the other shit that we
Work of the
hear?
devil, man.
We
Yeah.
hear all of this because of what society is pushing upon people, is black people especially.
Viz, I think they doing that because they gave up and they
But I
don't
mean,
think it's
shouldn't
But
possible.
we let them
well,
eat
yeah,
it?
no,
No,
that's
I think society
because
is doing that because
of some type of
it's
trauma.
something you can monetize. I think it's a business move to separate the man and the woman,
For
especially when
sure.
women are accounting for so much consumerism and a $15 trillion expense from being
Yeah.
single. I think it's a business move to separate a man and a woman to try to deal with this inflation.
But I mean, I don't. I see what y'all are saying. I'm just looking at this from a standpoint of like, sometimes, man, you just gotta let motherfuckers eat their failures.
But that's what I'm
I don't think
saying
we
though,
have a
bro.
choice
Like
but to let them eat their failures. I think we have an opportunity to speak from a passionate place that actually pushes solutions. And I kind of
Yeah, but
I
does it
love the
scare
fact that
any of
he's
you
starting
that
to
this
feel
is the
like that.
society that's going to fail, and it involves our children, potentially grandchildren, or does that scare any of you
I will
to where
hope.
you're like, damn, do
Hell
I want
yeah.
to watch this generation fail when I have a
Absolutely.
dog in a fight because my children are here?
That's one of the most.
Absolutely.
That's one of the primary reasons why I do what I do, because my kids got to go out here and deal with this.
Yeah, yeah. And we are, and I said this before, we are the ancestors of a generation to come. So it's like if I didn't fight and say, you know what, fuck what y'all talking about. That shit is trash. Uh, you a coward if you not approaching women. Fuck the Willie Lynch letter. Every single thing that I say, I'm saying it because I understand the impact of what it is that we're saying that's going to have on the younger generation. And if nobody else is saying it, if everyone else is going along with the Joneses, you know what I'm saying? Then who is going to listen? Who is going to stand up and say, you know what, this is not normal. Let's stop doing this. This isn't taking us down the right path. Somebody has to step up and say, all right, no, this is where we draw the line, and we have to create some type of standard, you know what I'm saying, for our future generations to
Don't you
come.
think? Don't you
But
think that technology and the way that people communicate these days does change the way that they may communicate now, or the way that they may date? I think it has a heavy influence on that.
Online, but in person, it doesn't change. You can.
But no, what I mean is that we're talking about a generation that's about to walk into AI technology. That is something we've never seen. Like that is beyond our comprehension what that world looks like.
Which is why it's even more important for us to set that standard and hold that line now, much rather than allowing for, you know what I'm saying, the Terminator generation to come.
But this thing though, even like what we're trying, like I'm just asking because I'm like, maybe what we're saying is the obsolete to the world that they're walking into, and that may be a reality. Like we talking about, like, and I know a lot of people talk about the Terminator aspect of it, but y'all ever seen the movie Wall-E or
Yeah.
Idiocracy, where they may be walking into a generation? I think I watched this video on
But you
YouTube, right? And
but
he
you had
said,
a choice, but you had a choice to do that though. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's the I think one of the biggest issues that we face, especially in the Black community, is that we give away our power so easily to everything else. I don't understand why it's so difficult for us to embrace the very power that we have. You know what I'm saying? You don't
Yeah.
have to confine to these new rules that they're placing before us. We don't have to do that. We're
"Oh,
That's only happening because people are accepting it and giving
uh,
away their power.